This is the 2002 BMW C1 motorcycle. It's a scooter with a roof, and not one, but two seat belts. So in many countries, this is the only motorcycle you can ride without wearing a helmet. Now, does that make it weird, or does it make it wonderful? Let's find out. First off, a little bit about the history, then we'll have a look at some of its quirks, and then of course we'll take it for a ride. They wanted to design a safe motorcycle that was practical and economical. So BMW started designing, and in 2000 they launched this, the C1 with a 125cc engine, producing, hold on, 15 brake horsepower. That wasn't enough for the Italians, so BMW designed a 200, which had a 176cc engine with an extra 3 horsepower, a grand total of 18 brake horsepower on a 180 kilo bike. That's what they designed. They started selling them in the year 2000, and unfortunately they sold 10,000 in the first year. The second year they sold about 2,000-ish, 2,500-ish, and then they said, fuck it, we won't sell it anymore. It was a bit of a flop. And why was this? Well, it certainly was economical. 1 liter, 33 kilometers, which is very impressive in the year 2000. It was safe. It had ABS. It withstood crash tests. I mean, if governments even allow you to ride this thing without a helmet, it is rather safe. And it was quite practical with a big top case, and you can park it. These mirrors are high enough so you can go through traffic jams quite easily. But it looks the way it looks. And I think BMW was right in thinking motorcyclists are probably not going to buy this thing. Let's try and sell this as an alternative to the car. So what they did in the year 2000 is they put this thing in the BMW car dealerships. Now imagine if in the year 2000 you saved money and you wanted to buy a BMW. You'd probably be looking for something cool, something sporty, something interesting. Well, interesting you got when you walked in the showroom. You saw this thing. But cool and quick? No. So they had a hard time selling this motorcycle, and it didn't sell very many of them. And let's find out why that is. The 18 horsepower in the top spec model, because it's heavy and it has a lot of wind resistance, this thing will only go about 115 kilometers an hour. The 125 will do 105 kilometers an hour, which is 60. So it really isn't very useful on the highway. Plus, yeah, you're protected from wind and rain. Pretty good. But the wind starts to blow around, and you'll see when we take a ride. Because they had to make it safe, they also had to make some compromises. You need to have 2 seat belts on. You're protected here, but it means getting out of the thing is quite of a hassle. Which meant that a normal parking mode of having a kickstand on the side wouldn't work with a top-heavy bike like this. The Germans, "We will engineer our way out of this, huh?" And for some reason, they have a French accent. So what they came up with was a clever but fragile system. You have to take your weight off, lower the tiny little legs, and then drop its weight on the first little legs, and you're done. If you want to take off again, you do the thing in reverse. It's a different order, and I'll guarantee you'll mess it up at some point and break this fragile system, and you have to get it fixed. Another interesting thing is because you have to park it with this special parking system, the weight is also on the back wheel. So checking your tire pressure can be a real challenge. 50% of the time it means getting up again, parking it, and trying again. Why is this thing on the top case? Well, apparently with the older machines, a thing can break here and you might lose the top case. So C1 owners use this to be sure it stays on. We also have to talk about options. Because it's a BMW, it has got options. First of all, these nets, optional extras. These are little strips that add for a little wind protection, optional extras. A sunroof, for some reason, if there wasn't enough sun around, optional extra. Top case, of course, an optional extra. Heated grips, optional extra. Heated seats, optional extra. And the most interesting one, in the year 2000, you can buy an MP3 audio system for blaring out your tunes while riding this C1. If you wanted attention, that would be the ticket to get the most attention, I would assume. Another thing, of course, you might wonder, how about a passenger? Well, you can. You just take off this top case and then you have a seat for a passenger. We'll have to wear a helmet and would look about the most ridiculous you can look. And that's saying a lot on this thing. Enough talk. I think it's time to take it for a ride and see what it's like. First, you do the seat belts. 1, 2. Lift the weight off the front wheel, and then with the small lever you lift the little feet up. Now, just like any other one, mine is broken, so I have to do it with my foot, and then you can sit down, start it. Let's see what this thing is about. First thing you notice is that this thing is top heavy, and it steers like really nothing you've ever steered before. You wait for, yeah, it doesn't, you really have to steer more. That's an electric bike. The guy's fast and he's old. It just makes me smile. I mean, that's, in the end, that's what it's about, right? If it makes you happy, it makes you happy, whatever the fuck it is. One of the up or down shots, if you want to call it, is that every time you park this thing, you have to talk with someone. Is it a motorcycle? Is it a car? Can you ride it on the street? Can you ride it on the highway? Do you have to wear a helmet? If you like that sort of thing, well, then you're golden with this. You always have someone to talk to when you stop for something. I think BMW was just ahead of its time in the year 2000 with an economical car alternative. You can park anywhere you'd want. Put the weight on the front wheel, and then it's that. Release the seat belts. So that's a C1. On the upshot, it is funny. You'll get attention all the time. It's economical, it's quite practical, and it makes me smile. But on the downside, it doesn't do well on the highway. You have to find a specialist to get it fixed, and you look, well, the way you would look on this machine. So is it weird or is it wonderful? Well, you get to decide that one. If, however, you've seen one of these things in your country, please put a comment below. I'd love to know where these things ended up. Is there one in New Zealand? Can we find one in Canada? Or is there one in Africa? I'd love to know. If you want to see more about motorcycles, have a look at the 44 Teeth and the Baron von Grumble. I love those YouTube channels. And if you want to know more about cars, Doug DeMuro. Obviously, I stole the whole thing about doing a video like this from him. Look at his. He's got a great YouTube channel. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all next time.